And the two chambers of parliament began debate on the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020, with members sparring over technical and procedural issues relating to the building bridges, driven push for a referendum. Creation and distribution of 70 proposed constituencies that was declared unconstitutional by the Joint Legal Affairs Committee in a majority report, as well as alleged existence of multiple bills with typographical errors, were among the pertinent issues that sparked debate in the two houses. And as our very own Francis Gachuri reports, the brief arrest and release of Meru Senator Mithika Linturi over alleged fraud and forgery allegations nearly scuttled the Senate afternoon sitting.
Day one of the special sittings in the bicameral parliament kicked off on a rocky note as members engaged with the Joint Legal Affairs Committee report on the Constitutional Amendment Bill of 2020. The Senate afternoon sitting almost aborting after Meru Senator Mithika Linturi was nabbed by detectives over fraud and forgery allegations.
They asked him to alight from his car, and he's now in a car headed to, he says he's headed to DCI headquarters. And he doesn't understand what his crime is.
Some of us will not participate in the debate this afternoon until it is explained to us what is happening to our colleague.
So that we do not unnecessarily raise temperatures. Senator Linturi has now been released and he's on his way here, Mr. Speaker.
Senators demanding suspension of the special sitting until the whereabouts of their colleague were established.
And it doesn't matter what he believes in, because this chamber is supposed to be a chamber of debate. Yes. This is not a choir where we are supposed to agree or sing the same song.
If we let it continue, one of these days, policemen are going to come into the chamber, not just to arrest Linturi, to arrest the Speaker.
An hour later, he returned to the House.
Whenever there is an issue that requires a member of parliament to present him, even if you have no other way, write to the Speaker, let the Speaker communicate to the member of parliament, and gladly go before him. So when I left here and went to my house after reading, I find people by police officers in 3 vehicles and brandishing guns, wanting to arrest me. I don't think I really deserve that kind of treatment, Mr. Speaker.
The House proceeded to delve into technical and procedural issues after the Joint Legal Affairs Committee, in its majority report, termed unconstitutional the proposed distribution of 70 new constituencies and establishment of the Office of Judiciary Ombudsman.
We took very strong exception on this clause, and our report has made a pronouncement that this particular clause should be termed unconstitutional, and if we had powers, it should be deleted from the BBI report.
How can we say, Madam Speaker, that this is unconstitutional? We will pass it, but it can be, let it be challenged in court at an appropriate time. Madam Speaker, that amounts to abdication of responsibility.
The questions the members are asking are captured to some extent in the minority report, which addresses the emphatic declaration by the Committee on Constitutionality, Madam Speaker.
And there is no provision of the Constitution that is not amendable by the people. Parliament may not amend some, but the people can amend anything. So long as there's an amendment to the Constitution by the people, you really can't stop them.
In the National Assembly, members haggled over preliminary issues touching on the bill's form and content.
What is the value of public participation that was conducted by the joint committees of Parliament? 2, should the submission of the public be thrown in a file cabinet and be put away to gather dust, or should they have any meaningful use or purpose?
There is no more public participation than collecting of 4 million signatures, and there is no more public participation if this bill goes through the process of a referendum, Mr. Speaker, where every Kenyan will have an opportunity to participate in the best way they know, Mr. Speaker.
What shall be the implication, Honorable Speaker, of the two houses considering different versions of the bill, if indeed there are two different versions, one that came to the National Assembly and another to the Senate?
And Mr. Speaker also wanted to suggest that because this is a constitutional amendment bill, virtually every provision is a constitutional issue. And therefore, the line between constitutional questions and substantive debate is very thin.
Let the legislature not remain captive to the status quo due to fear of the unknown. And let us remain steadfast to the wishes of the Kenyan public as enumerated in the proposals in the bill.
The bill requires the support of at least 175 members out of 349 in the National Assembly and 34 out of 67 in the Senate to pass in the two chambers of Parliament.
We cannot have two people in the whole country promoting a constitutional coup. What some of the proposals are being made there, Mr. Speaker, are akin to uprooting a constitution and replacing it with a new constitution, Mr. Speaker.
I am doing a constitutional change that affects 73 articles of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker. Nobody else could attempt to do it, Mr. Speaker. People here want just to filibuster here, Mr. Speaker, and they cannot even collect 100,000 signatures, Mr. Speaker. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beseech you, Mr. Speaker, my destiny is in your hands, Mr. Speaker. If you give a ruling, that says that my bill is bad, Mr. Speaker, God is watching him, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. God is watching him.
Well, it's always very good because God watches over all of us, isn't it?
However, Parliament's verdict notwithstanding, whether amendments on 73 articles in the 2010 Constitution will be effected will be determined by the Kenyan electorate in a referendum. Francis Gachuri, Citizen TV.